Very challenging wet conditions met the Finnstown Castle Gaswise Formula BOSS Ireland drivers at Mondello on the 11th of September 2022. For championship leader Aaron Gaughran, it would be a matter of not throwing away his championship lead. Second place Tony Greenan was planning to turn up the wick on Aaron, having acquired a Mercedes engine Dallara F317 since Kirkestown 2 weeks ago. Noel Robinson, who'd appeared there in the Dallara World Series, was now in Greenan's former F307. Tom Gaughran is currently leading the Boss 1 Championship for over 2-litre cars, so Jonathan Files will be hoping to make an impression on his position here. But conditions were not really favourable for the big power cars. Donald Griffin will be hoping to climb that leaderboard a bit too, as will a returning Eamon Matheson. Donald's car seemed to hit some intermittent problems during the qualifying. Aaron and Tony also lead the Boss 2 Championship, so the real interest here is Daniel Faherty and Michael Roach contesting the third podium spot. Noel Robinson could be the interloper here. Here is the grid for race 1, with Noel Robinson on pole beside Tony Greenan in second. We're set for an all-sports car row 4 with the return of Michael Connolly and Rob King. Unfortunately, Roland Doherty had troubles in the morning and will start from the pit row. As it worked out, he would be joined by Donald Griffin, and Rob King would line up at the back of the grid. Conditions didn't really improve between qualifying and the first race. In fact, there was quite a heavy shower just before the start. Tony Greenan getting away very well in his new car. Michael Roach has found some clear road on the near side to our camera. But fair play to all the drivers, they seem to have gotten away safely. That's Roland Doherty and Donald Griffin starting from the pit lane. Greenan leads around turn 1, Noel Robinson in second. Roach is caught on the outside line and Aaron Gaughran goes up the inside. Tom Gaughran in 9th ahead of Gary Graham. There's Eamon Matheson making a very welcome return after a hip injury. Looking across the paddock, you can really see the extent of the rain. Noel Robinson in second place, getting the measure of Tony Greenan. Aaron Gaughran has consolidated third place, ahead of Michael Roach 4th. Jonathan Files 5th, Michael Connolly 6th. Daniel Faherty holding off the sports car of Rob King. The leaders enter Tarzan 1 and 2 on the international extension of the circuit. There's a huge amount of standing water on the track. It'll take some time before the passing of cars clears it any little bit. No spray for Tony Greenan, but he's literally ploughing a course for the cars behind him. Files looking for a drier line on the right. He's got a wider track to the cars ahead of him. A good day to be in a sports car as they don't make spray from their front wheels. The slightest extra touch on the throttle and these cars could just go spinning. This is not the time for any manoeuvres. Down the main straight, and you can just see the amount of spray that one car kicks up. What's it going to be like in the middle of the field? Aaron Gaughran hanging back from the first two. There's a little bit of a line for Michael Roach to follow in 4th. The wider track Lola of Files fishtailing out of the tram lines down the straight. Behind Michael Connolly we see Rob King venturing a little look past Daniel Faherty. Greenan and Robinson sear ahead. They have quite the lead over Aaron Gaughran already. The 9th place Formula Renault of Gary Graham seems to cut through the water well. Tom Gaughran in the World Series has a bigger displacement and Roland Doherty has a look past him. The big power cars of Eamon Matheson and Donald Griffin frustrated in the conditions. It looks a little bit clearer out on the international extension and Tony Greenan has made a little bit of headway as Noel Robinson deals with his spray. Third place to Aaron Gaughran has a championship lead to defend. Michael Roach is very firmly in 4th place. Michael Roach looks equally secure in 5th place, treating Tarzan 2 with caution. Behind him Daniel Faherty seems to have broken clear of Rob King. The rain appears to have cleared a little bit, but the standing water will remain for the race. You wouldn't want to be moving off the line at this point. They complete lap 2. The spray from just 2 cars makes it look like it's raining again. Coming in towards the paddock now, and Noel Robinson is putting Tony Greenan under a little bit of pressure. At the line it's Michael Connolly who appears in 5th. Jonathan Files has gone missing. Drivers are starting to explore different lines on the main straight. This could open up room for overtaking manoeuvres later. And the man looking for that room is Noel Robinson at the moment. He has a little look at the inside of Tony Greenan going into Tarzan 1 there. He definitely seems to have a little bit more pace. Oh, but look, that effort has resulted in a little bit of a sideways moment there. Both these cars are new to each driver. They've invested greatly to bring the fight to Gaughran. He might be a bit late for this year's championship, but we're already lining up for another great season in 2023. Rob King has dropped back, so that's Roland Doherty up to 7th ahead of Gary Graham 8th. Tom Gaughran is being passed by Eamon Matheson, and Rob King is just behind Donald Griffin in 12th place. Another challenge from Noel Robinson at the end of lap 3. That's a brave line. He has to back off a little bit. He won't be able to convert that to an inside line. After 2 second places behind Keane Carey and Kirkestown, Noel Robinson can smell victory today, I think. He ventures closer to the pit wall this time. Surprising to see Aaron this far down, but I think he's looking at the bigger picture. Daniel Farty in a solid 6th place. As 4th place Michael Roach blasts across the line. Gary Graham passing Roland Doherty back up to 7th on Tarzan 1. Looks like Roland is struggling for grip. Fifth place Michael Connolly in the Radical Sports Car is maintaining a consistent gap to Daniel Faherty's F3. Rob King has recovered back to 9th place, Eamon Matheson 10th, and Donald Griffin has passed Tom Gaughran up to 11th. Roland Doherty must have had an issue. He's disappeared from behind Gary Graham, so Rob King is now up to 8th. In the distance we can see Donald Griffin closing on Eamon Matheson. Is there space for the big car to go past? It looks a bit ambitious at the moment. Tony Greenan still holding off Noel Robinson. But that's a huge lunge up the inside. He has to back out of that one. They're finding great grip under braking there. Oh, and a bit of sideways from Tony Greenan. Is that an opportunity for Noel Robinson? It hasn't slowed him enough. They're tight as they enter Buran's bends. This is serious dicing in treacherous conditions. Noel keeps in behind Tony this time to maybe slingshot as he approaches the last corner of the lap. Good defense by Tony there. Noel can go neither side. Greenan's new car looks strong in the drag race. They start lap 5. There's Roland Doherty. He's still on track, but he's lost a huge amount of ground and is the first to be lapped. Gaughran appearing out of the mist illustrates how difficult it's going to be making way through the traffic. I think Daniel Farty might be catching Michael Connolly a little bit. Michael Roach starts his 5th lap. Rob King is on a great recovery drive. The smallest capacity car in the race has made it past all the big grunt single-seaters. Daniel Farty has made a little bit more ground on the larger capacity Radical. And Gary Graham is also giant killing in the little Formula Renault. Our leaders have some big cars to pass. We can hear that Griffin has passed Matheson. Tony Greenan thinks about going to the inside of Tom Gaughran but gets a little sideways. That allows Noel Robinson to draw alongside him and the two pass Tom side by side. Greenan accelerates out of trouble, but now they've got Eamon Matheson to contend with. Tony hesitates and Noel goes around the outside and he's gotten all the way. They're now both behind Eamon Matheson. I could probably have forced him in behind Eamon there, but nobody wants to make contact. And Noel Robinson is way out into the lead. 9th place, Donald Griffin starts lap 5 as Noel Robinson comes down to start lap 6 in the lead from Tony Greenan. Back in the spray, Gaughran passes his dad Tom and now has to contend with 10th place Eamon Matheson. Still looks very wet at Tarzan 2. Daniel Farty continues to gradually reel in Michael Connolly. Fourth place, Michael Roach, followed by Roland Doherty, a lap down in 12th. Race cars crisscrossing the Mondello complex. Rob King checks his mirror. Gary Graham's Buzzin' Hornet should be easy to spot. Noel Robinson has really consolidated his lead. And behind Tony Greenan we see that Aaron Gaughran has made significant inroads on second place. Donald Griffin's V8 sounding great today. Behind Rob King we see Noel Robinson coming up to lap Gary Graham. The Renault's got a bit of game in the wet. Behind Tony Greenan we see that Aaron Gaughran is definitely on a late push. It's nice to see Eamon Matheson getting a race in. He was very disappointed to miss the Leinster Trophy race meeting at Kirkestown. Tom Gaughran's World Series sounds well today. I think he's just taking great care in the rain. With Jonathan Files out, he just needs to keep recording finishes for the Boss 1 Championship. Donald must be looking forward to his car going this well in the dry. Michael Roach's car looks really sharp in this weather. As does Daniel Faherty's. He's still making inroads on Michael Connolly. Roland's definitely not at full tilt. Noel Robinson has built a very strong lead. Behind Rob King's Radical, there's second place Tony Greenan, with Aaron Gaughran now hot on his tail. And again, Tony's been unlucky at where he's met the traffic. Rob moves out of the way. Aaron bravely swings into Tarzan. He'll get through on this section. Noel Robinson looking sure-footed towards the end of lap 7. Tony Greenan a little unsettled with Aaron Gaughran right behind him. Not quite close enough to test Tony under braking. Robinson starts lap 8. Aaron didn't get close enough for a slingshot. Or Tony's new car just has those few extra horses. Rob King in 7th place. There could be a late challenge here from Gary Graham. 9th place Donald Griffin. Noel Robinson in towards the paddock again. No problems there. Tony has a little bit of space from Aaron. But Gaughran could just be positioning himself. Back at the line, and Roland Doherty has closed right up on Tom Gaughran. There's position at stake there. Michael Connolly might be maintaining that gap now with Daniel Faherty. Robinson streaks ahead. Greenan twitches through Tarzan 2 while Aaron slides. They're both pushing the envelope. I think Aaron got tired of being sensible. Noel can drive in the middle of the road. But these two are pushing each other to the edge. Noel begins the 9th and final lap. Aaron has a little look up the left hand side of Tony. Gary Graham has really closed the gap to Rob King. They're going to have an exciting final lap too. It's been a very solitary run for Michael Roach in 4th. He stayed on the lead lap as Robinson maintains his determined course. Tony has made another bit of space for himself in this section again. On the international extension, Roland Doherty is still looking for a way past Tom Gaughran's World Series. Tony's maintaining a bit of ground from Aaron as Noel Robinson passes us in the foreground. Aaron's car always looks a little loose coming out of this one. Roland Doherty has a look at the other side of Tom Gaughran. They're going to have an exciting final lap as well. Just one more corner between Noel Robinson and a debut win in the F317. But look at these two. Aaron has closed right in the last section of the track. He goes for the outside and then switches to the inside. It's a drag race to the line. Noel Robinson takes the win. And here they come down the straight. It's neck and neck. And Greenan holds on to second by a nose cone. What a thrilling race in awful conditions. Well done to the drivers for keeping it clean. Gary Graham has dropped right back from behind Rob King, who takes 7th. There's Michael Roach claiming his 4th. There's Gary now. Formula Renault comes 8th. Donald Griffin looks pleased to have steered the big car around. Ninth place in the Reynard 90D V8. Fifth place is a strong return for Michael Connolly in the Radical. 6th place for Daniel Faherty. Tom Gaughran on course for some useful points in the Boss 1 category. Eamon Matheson making a successful return in the top 10. Roland Doherty got back to 11th. A satisfied wave from Noel Robinson, the race winner. And Tom Gaughran completes the dozen. Noel Robinson was so impressed with how Tony Greenan's car took the knock in Kirkestown that he found himself in that chassis just 2 weeks later, and his faith was rewarded with the race 1 win in Mondello.
It's one that Tony Greenan had, so we got it off him last weekend, and this was our first time out in it, so we're a wee bit coming down with no really expectations, so to get pole, which is, I think, all the time I've raced in Boss, I think that was the first ever pole that I've had, so pole for both races, win that race, although a wee bit of wheel spin off the line, and Tony got a great start. Spray was lethal. It was treacherous, to be honest, touching on dangers, but listen, I knew I had to stick with him. I knew it was quicker than him. I had to stick with him and hope he made a mistake somewhere, and I think he fell asleep a wee bit coming up in the back marker and nipped down the inside, and that was it. I was able to pull away.
It was definitely a complicated couple of moments as the two cars battling for the lead made it through Tarzan and into Baran's Bends, even with first Tom Gaughran and then Eamon Matheson moving offline as the leaders approached.
Once I cleared him, yes, and there was that much spray coming up from him. I had a misfire as well, but once it cleared Tony and got clear air, that was gone. So I think it was just top end coming down the straight, that much spray coming off. We were just getting a wee bit of a misfire, but it's not than that. It was great. The car ran faultlessly. So Stanley, Magic Bullet, and Global Oils have done a great job getting it ready and getting the win.
With no time to test prior to the weekend, qualifying had literally been a dive in the deep end.
First time out was this morning, so we just done a bit of work on it this week, getting it ready, prepped, and yeah, straight out into the fire this morning. So yeah, it's all went seamlessly so far.
Tony Greenan had far from ideal conditions to get used to the extra power of his new steed.
New car, it's a Mercedes F317. I bought it off CF Racing in Wales, and Hywell's over here today looking after it for us. So it's just a shame about the weather.
It's hard to feel a new car in the rain.
Oh yeah, I'd be the first one to say I'm not a wet weather man, so I'm not. I would far rather if it had been in the dry, yeah, for sure.
But you're right at the sharp end of that race.
Right at the sharp end, yes. Noel, fair play to Noel Robinson. Congratulations on his win there. I actually got a good start on in first place there for maybe a lap or two, and then I could see Noel was giving me a bit of a hard time, and once he got past me, he pulled away. And then actually Gaughran caught me, and we had a bit of a drag race with Gaughran just coming out of the last corner here, right to the line. I think there was only like half a nose in it or something, but I think the Mercedes just had the power to pull her out at the top corner.
I just had to ask him about that remarkable flight in the Leinster Trophy race.
You want to be inside the car to feel it.
I'd say the landing was sore, was it?
Yeah, it was, yeah. To be honest, I didn't know where it was. Honestly didn't know where it was. I thought the wheel was folded in underneath me, and I was sort of amazed that the car was actually driving straight. So I just put the head down and back up to 4th place. So
I mean, I could literally see you counting the wheels.
I certainly was, yeah. It was absolutely brilliant. So it was that she held up, and actually it was Stanley Watson, who owns the car as well, that actually in the incident he bought the car off me as well. So now he's got the both of them. He's seen how strong it was that he had to buy it.
That's it, it was one of the strongest limousines out there.
Absolutely brilliant, yeah.
It looked like this last corner manoeuvre might have worked for Aaron. So what happened?
More power, that's what happened. But no, to be fair, I got a good drive out of Dunlop. Looked like I pulled it 4-2 on Town, and then he just had good torque, I think, good drive. Came back by us, not much we could do really. It was just a drag race to the line, so it's a bit of fun, a bit annoying, but it could be worse. I was happy enough, to be fair. I got a good start, and then it was very tight off the line, so I kind of backed out a bit of it and said, we'll see how the race goes. Two boys drove great. Cars were all flying. It's good to see everybody get back in one piece anyway, so because it was a fairly lively, dicey race. To start, I was happy enough to kind of get a gap so I could actually see, and then towards the last 5 laps I was catching Tony, and I thought to myself, well, we might as well throw the kitchen sink at it. So them last couple of laps you couldn't see a thing really. I was kind of just praying Tony wasn't going to brake early or do something mad. So, but no, it was good. It was a good race. I enjoyed it.
It's good to have an opponent you can kind of trust like that, actually.
Exactly, yeah, no, to be fair. He's out in a brand new car, so he doesn't want to do anything silly. So, no, it was grand, to be fair. Hats off to the boys. Everybody's flying. Big shout out to the team. Everyone's working flat out. Cars flying. Both cars running well, so happy days.
Michael Roach had qualified 4th and put in a solid performance to hold that position in the race. Michael Roach, you're just refueling and getting set to go again.
Yeah, getting ready. Look, I think that's all I have to do is just top up the fuel. Hopefully, car's going fine.
You managed to steer a good course through the rain there, did you?
Yeah, look, I try and keep it on the track there. There's difficult conditions for everyone, but behind the 3 guys I couldn't see a thing. Just had to back off. The vision was, I'm sure it was the same for everyone else in the back as well. It's just conditions are horrible there. Fine then once I get a bit of a gap and could see where you're going, but still haven't got the pace of the guys, I suppose. But happy enough, yeah, keep it going and get another race, hopefully. Maybe it'll dry up a little bit there now, it looks brightening up.
Michael Connolly had improved on his grid position by 2 places to finish 5th.
Zero visibility, so I had a few moments early on, and I discretion is the better part of valor. I just did one decent time and that was it for me. But race 1 went well. Got a great start and I was 5th going into turn 1. And Johnny Files got past me, but unfortunately he had some issue a couple of laps later and he retired. But then I managed to hold 5th and was kind of on my own. Daniel Flaherty was chipping into me, but I had enough of the gap built up at that stage.
Daniel Faherty was right in the middle of the action at the start.
Yeah, at the start, once we got started, there was a load of spray coming up into the first corner, so I couldn't really see, so I backed off a bit just in case I collect someone. And once we got around the corner, it got a little bit easier, but got the spray nearly the whole way through the race, but towards the end it cleared up, so it gave us a bit more traction. It's all a learning curve, because I never really drove in the wet as such, so it's a learning curve. It's saying it's drying out till 5 o'clock, so I'm kind of hoping it stays a bit wet, but we'll see what happens, just to even it out a little bit more.
Rob King had the smallest capacity car in the race, but after finishing 7th, he was focusing on the positives.
The Radical's a good car to have in the rain because it doesn't have that much power, so you've less of a disadvantage in the rain than you would against some of these big things in the dry. And you don't have your own spray to deal with off your front wheels, so that's kind of good as well. But when you get behind one of these cars with huge wide tyres in the back, you just can't see a thing. It's nuts. So you just literally have to kind of get out of the way as quick as possible, otherwise you drive into the back of them. I don't know how these F1 lads do it at all, but yeah, it was good fun. It's dried out a lot now, so this race should be easier conditions. But yeah, we'll see. I think I'm going to pay attention to my grid starting spot this time because I think I qualified 8th, and there didn't appear to be a gap for 8th when I lined up, so I started in 11th, and I just thought, well, that'll do.
I hope Rob does take up his 7th spot for the race too, as in these conditions, that start is everything. Gary Graham was very pleased with his progress in the rain.
Yeah, the car's going well now, yeah. Finally finding a bit of pace in the car at last. I really enjoyed that race, it was great. Like, I've been able to hunt down fellas and catch them and pass them, which is absolutely brilliant, sort of. That's what I've been trying to do for the last couple of years, and I finally got it and actually went down Mondello, so it was good, great fun, great crack now, absolutely brilliant.
He was curious now to see how it would go in the dry.
It'd be nice now to get a run in the dry and bolt on the soft tyres and see how it goes.
It's kind of getting where you wanted it to be, is it?
The car, oh yeah, it is, yeah, definitely, it's flying, yeah, it's going great now, yeah, like really getting confident in it now, and really sort of the whole package is coming together now at last.
You had a bit of cutting out during qualifying. Was everything alright in the race?
It was until I went past the finish line on the last lap, and it kicked in again, but it's a complete dead cut, so I'm changing the master switch. That's all I can do really. But it picks up again, you know, like I kind of bump started. And I had a load of Paul O'Connell's tyre warmers on the wet tyres, and the grip for the first couple of laps was unreal. But I couldn't take advantage of it because I couldn't see. I just couldn't see, so I couldn't take a dive. I didn't want to take a dive, but I could have hit a couple of cars around me for the first couple of laps. It's unreal when the tyres are hot. I was ultra happy to get a good race distance out of it, and you know, be able to race for the whole race rather than have some issue going on. You know, so no, I think the engine's at its best now, so I'm real happy with that.
The World Series car was going well for Tom Gaughran, but visibility was a real issue.
Car's going well, I'm not. Vision, unbelievable, very hard. So, no, I was happy to bring it home. I mean, I just need points, so I just took the ruthless thought of I need a finish. So it was good for, you know, my boss group. So that's where I took it. But yeah, vision, fair play to the lads, because into turn 1 I overtook, I think, the Radical, and then just couldn't see absolutely anything. So, you know, there comes a point.
At least the Radical has wheel arches.
Yeah, now in fairness, I could see a bit of brake light off him, which was great, like, you know, but, oh, holy God, yeah.
Yeah, it's an achievement to finish a race like that at all.
It was tough, in fairness, you know, as you get older, you get wiser. I just thought, I need to bring this home for some points, like, you know, so.
The Race 2 grid was much the same as Race 1, with just Rob King and Michael Connolly on different sides of the 4th row. The conditions, however, were completely different, but rain clouds were threatening. Noel Robinson making a slightly hesitant start from pole, Michael Roach doing very well, Aaron Gaughran boxed in the middle. Oh, a bit of fishtailing there from Eamon Matheson, and there's Donal Griffin and Roland Doherty getting away from the pit lane. Tony Greenan leading on the inside line of turn 1, Michael Roach was on the outside there. Through Campion corner and they're into single file, and Greenan leads. Back in towards the paddock, Michael Roach in 2nd place, goes a little bit wide, tempting 3rd place Aaron Gaughran. Race 1 winner Noel Robinson in 4th, Michael Connolly 5th. Further back there's a big manoeuvre from Donal Griffin having a go for 9th place around Eamon Matheson. but it actually gives Gary Graham a chance up his inside. Out on the international extension, and Tony Greenan has established a bit of a lead. Aaron Gaughran has passed Michael Roach up into second. He'd want to get going if he wants to keep in touch with Tony. Noel Robinson in fourth. And Michael Connolly having a go at him with the Radical sports car. The tight line is a bit slow. He has to let Noel Robinson away. Tom Gaughran 6th, Rob King 7th, Daniel Farty 8th, Eamon Matheson in 9th, Roland Doherty 10th, and Gary Graham 11th. Donald Griffin has dropped back. Oh, it still looks like he has an intermittent problem with the Reynard. That's a shame, because we just had a brief glimpse of this car's potential when he was challenging Eamon Matheson earlier in the lap. Tony Greenan with a significant first lap advantage already. Aaron Gaughran has broken away from the third place battle. Michael Roach has his mirrors full of Noel Robinson, and Michael Connolly interested in both of them. Tom Gaughran leads Rob King and Daniel Faherty. Behind them there's a bit of a battle emerging for 8th place. Roland Doherty making a great manoeuvre there on Eamon Matheson, coming out of the corner, but Eamon has the straight line speed. The race leader, Tony Greenan. Doesn't look like Aaron Gaughran is making any inroads on him at the moment. Noel Robinson has passed Michael Roach up to 3rd place. Michael Connolly taking that fast wide line. Rob King not needing to defend does the same. Back at the end of the pit lane, and Donald Griffin is pulling in, unfortunately. Well, at least he didn't get stranded out on track. Maybe he'd be able to find something in the garage and get going again, because at the moment the conditions are quite good. That Mercedes engine Dallara is looking like a good investment by Tony Greenan. With rain threatening though, there may have been different choices in tyres. Aaron checks his mirror to see if anyone's coming. And we, like him, were expecting to see Noel Robinson in 3rd, but no. It's Michael Roach, but he's been passed by Michael Connolly up to 3rd. Tom Gaughran is closing in on this 3rd place battle. Rob King's Radical in 6th. And there's Noel Robinson there, 7th. Followed by Daniel Faherty, 8th. And we just spot that Matheson has dropped behind Doherty and Graham. Tony Greenan is looking untouchable in this race. It's almost the length of the main straight back to Aaron Gaughran already. Michael Connolly 3rd. And it looks like Tom Gaughran has Michael Roach in his sights. Noel Robinson beginning to chase down Rob King. Behind Michael Connolly, Tom Gaughran is following Michael Roach ominously. Tony Greenan out on his own. This is like a test session for the new car. As Daniel Faherty passes, we note Donald Griffin retiring to the garage. There's Roland Doherty and Gary Graham. Second place would be a useful result for Aaron Gaughran's championship campaign, but Tony Greenan's pace must be a concern for next year. A podium with the sports car would be a very satisfactory result for Michael Connolly. There's Michael Roach showing signs of being a bit under pressure there from Tom Gaughran, and Robinson's in striking distance of King now. Eamon Matheson has dropped a long way back. He may actually be suffering some pain, as it's still very early in his recovery, and this has been a long day's racing. Tony Greenan, big lead after just 3 laps. Aaron Gaughran very secure in 2nd place. We look past 3rd place Michael Connolly, because Tom Gaughran is making his move on Michael Roach. The World Series car moves up to 4th. This is the kind of performance that Tom was looking for. That's a defensive line from Gaughran, which holds up Michael Roach a little bit, allowing Noel Robinson to close. And he takes an opportunity. He's back up to 5th. It's a long wait for Aaron Gaughran to appear as Tony Greenan starts lap 4. Michael Connolly is actually closer to him in 3rd. Tom Gaughran now has the resurgent Noel Robinson behind him, interested in his 4th place. Rob King is right up behind Michael Roach now. Tom Gaughran is really putting the shoe in now in the 3.5 litre World Series. Eighth place Daniel Faherty. Roland Doherty must have been making some progress on him, but he's lost a bit of his bodywork and is going into the pits. That promotes Gary Graham to 9th. There's a scramble in the pit lane to help Doherty as Graham passes. Tony Greenan looking very comfortable in his new car on lap 4. They've got Roland's engine cover back on and he's ready to rejoin the race. If these positions stood, it would only be another 3-point drop by Aaron Gaughran with 2 rounds to go. Tony Greenan comes up to lap Eamon Matheson at the beginning of lap 5. Michael Connolly on his own in 3rd. Tom Gaughran in 4th. And Noel Robinson is absent from behind him. It's Michael Roach in 5th, with Rob King still working hard behind him. The sports car holds the road very well down through Baran's bends. And he's able to go up the inside of Michael Roach. With King up to 5th place, the sports cars are doing very well today. Can Michael fight back here? Not this time. But down the straight, Michael has the legs of the 1500cc Radical. But there goes the safety car. And there we see why Noel Robinson is stranded on the gravel trap on the way back in from the country. Yellow flag there is Daniel Faherty now in 7th place and Gary Graham 8th past the pit wall. As 3rd place Michael Connolly passes the stricken Noel Robinson. We consider that safety car laps could really close up the lead that Tony Greenan had built. The marshals try to push the car, but it's seriously beached. The news gets worse for Tony Greenan. The race has been red flagged. All that advantage is gone. The safety car will bring them back to the start and they'll restart with just about 4 minutes on the clock. And is that a spot of rain on our lens? Rescue vehicles are deployed. And Noel is towed to safety. This is how they gridded for the restart. Michael Roach, who pitted, will start from there. As you can see, the rain is back, so performance levels could be completely different from the first part of the race, which only served to decide these starting positions. Off they go again. And Michael Connolly makes an incredible start out and around the first 2. From the temporary grandstand we see he had it all done before the first corner. Tony Greenan in 2nd, Aaron Gaughran 3rd, Daniel Faherty 4th, Tom Gaughran 5th, Rob King 6th, Roland Doherty 7th, Gary Graham 8th, and Michael Roach moving up to 9th ahead of Eamon Matheson 10th. I think the delayed restart has fallen into the hands of those who were hoping for a wet second race. That's hard luck for Tony Greenan, who had such a massive lead. He's now 3rd. Out on the international section of the track, and Michael Connolly is building that lead from Aaron Gaughran. Tom Gaughran is making a move on Daniel Faherty up to 4th. as they enter Tarzan. There's our race leader. Oh, wheel spin there for Tony Greenan. He's not on the right tyres for this. Flaherty fishtailing in front of Rob King. Michael Roach up to 8th ahead of Gary Graham, but it looks precarious. Michael Connolly has built a big lead after just one lap. Aaron finds himself in much the same place as he was in the first half of the race, in second. Tony's lost out big time. Tom is where he was, 4th. Daniel Fardy 5th. Roland Doherty setting up a manoeuvre on Rob King. He passes him down the straight up to 6th. And Michael Roach giving chase to this pack. Eamon Matheson's up to 9th. He has passed Gary Graham, 10th. Back in from the country on lap 2, and we see this wasn't just a start line surprise for Michael Connolly. Now, can Tony Greenan reel in Aaron Gaughran, continuing their championship battle? Tom Gaughran has a bit of space for himself in 4th. There's not a lot of space for these guys battling for 5th place, and Rob King is back ahead of Roland Doherty. That corner still looks a little tricky for Michael Connolly. But wow, there's no grip there for Aaron. Tony is on tiptoes as well. Michael looks like he could go a bit quicker. He has a look up the inside of Roland Doherty. Daniel doesn't want to throw this away. Oh, and Michael has spun. It's very deceptive out there. Michael looks safe at the start of lap 3. Based on his pace earlier, if the track dried, that gap to Aaron wouldn't be insurmountable for Tony. Hard work on the World Series car is paying off for Tom Gaughran. And Roland Doherty's lining up to do the same trick again on the main straight. Doherty passes King on the right hand side this time. Will he be able to make it stick for the rest of the lap? Michael Roach recovering in 8th from that spin. Michael Connolly continues to stretch his lead on lap 3. Though Aaron is losing a little bit of ground from Connolly, I think he's gaining a bit from Greenan. Gary Graham is back ahead of Eamon Matheson now for 9th. Two very different cars in close competition. On what is to be the final lap, Michael Connolly has turned it into a parade. He's won hill climbs outright, but he's never won a boss race before. Tarzan 2 still looks treacherous for these guys. A spin now would be disastrous for either of them. Tony must be disappointed to have lost that early lead, but a race win with this car mustn't be far away. Daniel Farty is close right up on Tom Gaughran as our race leader heads into the final corner. And there's the checkered flag from Michael Connolly. A sports car has won a boss race today. Second place for Aaron Gaughran means he's maintained exactly his position in the championship from Tony Greenan today. And the performance of Tony Greenan's new car in the first half of the race is a warning shot to all the championship contenders. Tom Gaughran's made a bit of ground over Daniel Farty, who's been threatened by Roland Doherty, and he's spun! He keeps the throttle in to avoid stalling, and Rob King slips through. Is Michael Roach there somewhere? That's a late bonus for Michael. Daniel's kept it going, so he'll rescue something from it. There was jeopardy in this race right to the very end. Gaughran 4th, Roland Doherty 5th, Rob King 6th. Michael Roach 7th. There's poor Daniel coming down for 8th. And here's Eamon Matheson in 9th. Eamon will be relieved to cross the finish line. And Gary Graham collects a 10th. The DNSs refer to the restart. Aaron pulls up to Michael Connolly to congratulate him. And the elated return to the garages.
Michael Connolly must be delighted. Was it tyres or what did you do there?
Tyres. It was hill climb rubber that Tom used in the sprint there recently, and thought they'd work well, and they worked amazingly. So worked my way up to third, then there's a red flag. I really fancied my chance of staying off the restart, so got a great start and just got the head down and went for it.
Well done. Is that the first race?
Yeah, first win. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. No, thrilled, like totally unexpected, but sure, it's great. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. Like that's what motor racing does. It throws these things up.
Yeah.
There.
Like qualifying this morning was hilariously poor, and it just goes to show like you never know what way the day will work out. Yeah, but delighted, thrilled.
So these are the tyres.
These are the tyres.
And so you did that during the break, and you were just watching the weather.
Yeah, like we knew it'd dry up, and I had race rubber there, but I felt more than what the F3s experienced, a challenge to get them working. So these came out and they were perfect. So hopefully nobody else gets them now.
That one was another great adventure in two parts.
Yeah, I loved that. It was deadly, to be honest. Now, to be fair to Tony, the first start of the race, he was just gone. That's unbelievably pedaling that car really well. I was so happy to see the safety car, because I thought at least I'd have another crack at him now. And then when the rain started coming down, I knew, look, it's anybody's really. Looking in the mirror, you could see me dad, Mick Roach, or me dad, Mick Connolly behind us. So I said to Matt, I think them boys will be gone by us into turn one. So Mick got better of a start. I think me dad kind of held back to leave me a bit of space. Happy days. And it was great dice. It felt like a good dice with Tony. It's just because it's wet and so slippy. It was unreal. The tension is so high. But now, to be fair, Tony had a little moment in front of me. And to be fair, I backed off as well because I thought he was going to come back across me. But he didn't. He caught it, and as he caught it, I pinned it. And just luckily enough. Luckily enough, see you later. Luckily enough, just squeezed by him, and then once I was by him, it was elbows out and just go. So I'm delighted with that. Happy as Larry. I mean, P2 felt as good as a win. So
that was very good for your championship.
Yeah, I think so. To be fair, I don't
with
really.
Tony's pace coming the way it is, it's significant.
Yeah, Tony's savage. To be fair, and that car, it's going to be tough. Like, but thankfully, there's only one more round to go. So we'll see what happens for next year, but we definitely need more power.
Tony Greenan, it was a bit of hard luck the way that worked out, but you got a real taste of what that car can do in the first half of that.
I think if it stays dry, I was gone there. So it was, I think I had a massive lead. I'm not sure how far exactly.
It looked to me like you nearly had the straight.
I think possibly did, yeah. Then whenever I went back around, I seen Noel was beached in my old car, and then I seen the safety car, and then I just the writing was on the wall then, to be honest. Safety car lap, and then we'll come back around on the grid, and then of course it started raining, and we've got medium slicks on, and I just knew rightly, I said there's no way like this can be happening. So it did happen. To be fair, I was very lucky coming out of turn 2 just to keep it on the track at all. I thought it was gone. So take the third place. You're going to have to anyway. Yeah, you know, that's the way it goes. That's the rules.
Think about it on the next race.
Yeah, I just hate the wet.
He's philosophical about it, but what's in store for our final rounds, scheduled for the 2nd of October 2022?